Welcome to Beyond Hormones, the Business of Wellness, the podcast for hormone and functional medicine providers who want a thriving, predictably profitable practice and maybe a little less stress along the way. Hi, I'm your host, Jody Lane, and I've worked with lots of clinics in marketing, sales, and business development, and I have seen what works and what doesn't. And here's what I believe. Hormone and wellness care should be available to everyone who wants it. And while providers know the medicine, many struggle with the business side of their cash practice. And that's where I come in. See, this podcast is here to share real strategies, real stories, things you can implement in your practice right away. So I am so glad you're here. Come on, let's go. Hey everybody, it's Jody here from Accelerated Medical Practices. And I was on my walk this morning and I had one of those moments where a thought just kind of sneaks up on you. It's Saturday. It's 1 week before Christmas and I am headed back to my desk after my workout. And before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't a complaint. I actually love what I do. I love to build things. I love solving problems. And I especially love working with clinic owners and providers who genuinely want to help people feel better and live better lives. But it did make me pause because as I was walking, I started thinking about what this last year has really been like for me. See, we officially launched Accelerated Medical Practices in January of 2025. And honestly, it's been wild. I mean, in a good way, a fun way. It's been exciting. And also, if I'm being really honest, it's been a little chaotic. See, I'm someone who never struggles with having the next idea, ever. If anything, my problem has always been the opposite. And if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, you may understand exactly what I mean. The challenge isn't what could I do? It's more like what should I not do? And when I went into this year, started this new business, I told myself, okay, I'm going to be better at that. I'm going to focus. I'm going to go deep and not wide, just like I tell my clinicians. And did I do better than I've done in the past? Well, yeah, I think so. Did I do great? Probably not. When I actually step back and I look at 2025, and think about all that we did this year, it's a lot. We built an entire e-learning platform filled with courses on business and sales and marketing for hormone clinics, which I was so excited to do. We developed a full marketing and sales automation system with campaigns clinics can actually use, which I definitely was excited to do. I wrote a book called The Predictable Profit Formula and how to create it in a hormone clinic, which I really enjoyed. We ran marketing for several clinics. We hosted a lot of growth workshops, and we got to work one-on-one with consulting clients. And I loved all of it, but it's a lot. And when I say it out loud, it becomes pretty clear that while all of those things are good and helpful and all align with our mission here at AMP, they're also pretty spread out. So why am I telling you all this? Why am I admitting all this publicly? Because I realized something really important as I started to think about this. I'm probably not alone, especially in the wellness and hormone space. See, I see this all the time with clinicians. There are so many incredible treatments, tools, and modalities available today. I mean, we were at A4M last week in Vegas, and there's 900 booths of cool stuff. Things that genuinely make a difference in people's lives. There's hormones, there's peptides, there's weight loss, longevity, gut health, brain health, aesthetics, functional labs, lifestyle medicine. But here's the thing. None of those things are bad. In fact, they're all great ideas. And that's what makes it so hard. Because most clinic owners aren't distracted because they're chasing shiny objects you always hear about. They're overwhelmed because they care. They want to help people. You want to bring solutions into your practice. You don't want to turn somebody away if you could help them. But when you try to do too much, it actually becomes really hard to do one or two things exceptionally well. And what I see happening next is really painful. The business starts to feel chaotic. Profitability could stay lower than it should. And you're constantly reacting instead of leading. And slowly, the joy can get sucked out of something that you once loved. Some of you might be ending this year feeling tired. Some of you might even be questioning whether this is something that is worth it. Some of you might even be wondering if you should do this next year. Now, if that sounds even vaguely familiar, I want you to stay with me because I want to walk you through how I am approaching 2026. Not as an expert with all the answers, because I'm not that, but as a fellow entrepreneur who's learning in real time and sharing it with you. And my hope is that you'll hear pieces of yourself in this and feel a little bit more grounded heading into the next year. Now, the first thing that I had to do was acknowledge reality. I had to admit to myself that I don't always fully follow my own advice, and I certainly didn't do that this year. But here's the important part. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I don't believe there are true mistakes in business. There are always just opportunities to learn. There are lessons, there are experiments, and there are things that worked and things that didn't. So instead of asking yourself, why did I screw this up again? Ask yourself, what is this all trying to teach me? And what it taught me is this. Even good things, when stacked too high, creates chaos. So step one in creating an intentional 2026 for me was acknowledgement without judgment. And I want you to do the same. Not from a place of shame, not from frustration, but from honesty. Ask yourself, where did I overextend this year? Where did I add instead of refine? What actually worked and what just kept me busy? You can't change what you don't identify. So go ahead and name it. Now, once I acknowledged that, the next step became very clear. For 2026, I'm making a very specific commitment. We here at AMP are not going to create any new products or services next year. None. And that's not because we're done building or out of ideas. It's because we built enough so far. We have the framework, we have the tools, we know how we can help clinics at different stages of their growth. Now it's time for us to focus. So I've asked my team to meet on Tuesday, December 30th. We are going to meet offsite to plan 2026. And here's how the planning is going to be structured. The first thing we're going to do is start at the end. What do we want December 31st, 2026 to look like? Not just revenue, but culture, capacity, quality of life. Then we can reverse engineer. What numbers do we need to hit? What metrics actually matter to us this year? What activities drive those outcomes? Then we'll look at every service we already offer and ask, how do we make this better, clearer, more effective, more valuable for you guys, the clinics we serve? Not just what should we add, but what should we improve? And finally, we're going to then align our marketing to that. Not to shiny objects, not to shiny ideas and trends. And if you're a clinic owner listening to this, this is exactly how you should be thinking. Instead of asking what new service should I bring in next year, ask yourself first, how can I improve what I already offer? How can I become the obvious choice for the right patients? And how many patients do I actually need to hit my goals? And if you have a team, this part matters more than anything. Share the plan with them. Explain why you made the choices you made. Help them understand that this isn't just about revenue. It's about building something sustainable and meaningful and results driven for your patients. When you treat your team members like partners, they show up differently. Now, this is where most plans fall apart because motivation is super easy in January, but consistency is hard come March. So execution has to be intentional. For AMP, that means documenting everything in a project management system that we will actually use. It doesn't have to be the fanciest tool or the one with all the bells and whistles, but the one that we will open and use. Here's the thing. Google Sheets can work just as well as the most expensive platform out there if people actually use it. The tool matters less than the behavior. We're also going to set a very clear meeting rhythm, consistent check-ins where we review progress, talk about obstacles, and hold each other accountable. And this matters for clinics too. If you're enrolling your staff to your goals, you need clear ownership of tasks. You need to set clear expectations. You need consistent follow-up. And sure, there might be some resistance. When I first moved into healthcare from marketing, this kind of structure was normal to me and completely foreign to the medical staff. But I promise you this, you're not just teaching them skills that they can use in your clinic, you're teaching them skills they can use in their life. So don't give up if it feels uncomfortable at first. Now I want to share something a little personal here. When I was a kid and I got in trouble, my mom would come into my room and she would say, "You were told to stay in your room, but you weren't told you couldn't have fun." She always had a way of making hard things feel lighter. And I didn't fully understand all of her tricks and how valuable her lessons were until much later when I started managing people. I see, even the most committed teams, they need encouragement. Even entrepreneurs like myself, we need motivation. So make everything a game. For us, that means quarterly meeting days. We're going to close the AMP offices. We're going to do team building. We're going to celebrate our wins. We're going to work on ourselves and personal development, and we'll reset ourselves for the next quarter. This is exactly what I did when I was running the clinic in Orlando. When I mentioned it to the owner, he actually took out a calculator and figured out exactly how much money we were going to lose for closing the day. And I told him, just trust me, we'll make it back. And we did. Those days changed everything. We improved our culture, our communication, retention of our staff, the energy. And I'm going to bring that back to AMP. And honestly, guys, I wish I had done it sooner. Look, I am nowhere near perfect. This plan sounds great on paper, and I promise you, I'm going to mess things up along the way. And that's okay, because success isn't about perfection. It's about honesty. It's about grace. It's about learning and adjusting without quitting. And if you're still here with me and still listening to this podcast, I just want to thank you, not just for being a great provider, but for being willing to run a business, for doing the uncomfortable work so wellness can exist. And, you're not alone. It's actually why I started this podcast, so that you would know that you are not alone. And, if you're listening to this and it's not December, don't wait for the next year. Planning can happen at any time. You can focus at any time. You can make changes in your business at any time. So no matter when you're listening to this podcast, take the information, take the plan, and just start. Thank you for listening to Beyond Hormones, the business of wellness. I hope that you're walking away with fresh ideas and real strategies you can use to grow your practice with profit and purpose. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow the show so you never miss a conversation. And if something you heard today resonated with you, do me a favor, share this episode with a friend or a colleague. It's one of the best ways you can support the show, and it might be exactly what they need to hear right now. If you want even more tools and support, go ahead and head over to acceleratedmedicalpractices.com. Until next time, keep doing the work that matters. Your patients need you, and I am cheering you along every step of the way.